The sun was still hiding behind the sleeping mountains when the winds whispered across the high cliffs of Eldora Ridge. Nestled on one of those jagged ledges was a solitary eagle's nest, wide, sturdy, and worn with time. Within it lay a young eagle named Aaron. Aaron was not like any ordinary eaglet. His wings were broad and strong, his feathers painted with glimmers of gold and amber, shining even under the first hint of dawn. His eyes held the fire of courage, or at least they were supposed to. But day after day, he sat on the edge of that nest, watching the horizon, wondering what it would feel like to leap, and never finding the strength to do so. His brothers and sisters had already flown. One by one, they had stepped out into the sky with trembling hearts, but unwavering faith. Some had stumbled, some had soared, but all had flown. The nest that was once filled with chirping siblings had grown quiet. Only Aaron remained, clinging to the familiar, surrounded by the remnants of a childhood that was supposed to end. His mother, Mara, the matriarch of the sky, had tried everything. She had nudged him gently toward the edge. She had spread her own mighty wings, demonstrating the grace and strength he had inherited. She had told him stories of the winds, how they lifted, how they taught, how they embraced those who dared. But Aaron always stepped back. What if I fall too hard? What if I'm not ready? What if I'm just not meant for the sky? And so the days passed. The comfort of the nest, the same spot he was born in, became his world. He convinced himself that staying was safer. The drop below looked endless, and the sky, though beautiful, felt too vast, too wild. The truth was simple. Aaron had forgotten what his wings were made for. The sky outside grew louder with each passing season. Winds called his name in the early morning. Sunrises begged to be chased. Storms painted poetry across the clouds. But Aaron stayed, convinced that the sky was for the brave and he was not among them. Until one night, a storm rolled into the mountains, not one of whispers, but of roars. Lightning danced like fire serpents across the dark sky. Thunder cracked the air into pieces. Rain came down like shards of glass. The mountain trembled. Mara knew what was coming. She stood over Aaron, shielding him as much as she could. But nature had its own plans. With a thunderous gust, the nest tilted sharply. Then, in a moment of sheer chaos, the wind picked up the entire structure and hurled it off the ledge. Aaron screamed. The nest spun violently, and before he could process what was happening, he was falling. The nest shattered in the air, and suddenly he was alone. No walls, no floor, no safety. Just him and the wind and the drop below. Panic surged through him. The wind tore at his feathers. His heart pounded against his chest. The world spun. He flailed, wings tucked, unable to think. But instinct is stronger than fear. Something ancient stirred inside him, not taught, not learned, but born into him. His wings stretched open, not in thought, but in desperate survival. They caught the air, the fall slowed. For the first time, he wasn't dropping, he was gliding. Eyes wide with terror and wonder, he realized he could feel the wind, not against him, but beneath him, carrying him, guiding him. He flapped once, then again, and he rose. He didn't stop. He flew higher and higher, chasing the storm that had just tried to destroy him. Every beat of his wings made the fear shrink. Every lift from the air whispered truths he had forgotten. You were made for this. You were never meant to stay. You were born to soar. The sky opened like a canvas, and Aaron painted his first flight with raw determination and untamed beauty. Rain lashed his feathers, but he kept flying. The wind howled, but it no longer felt like an enemy. It was his teacher now, his partner. By the time the storm passed, Aaron was a speck high above the world he once feared. He didn't return to the broken nest. He didn't need to. He landed on a towering cliff further up the ridge, far above where he used to live. From here, the world looked smaller, but his heart had grown larger. Mira found him at dawn. She perched beside him in silence, pride swelling in her chest. There was no need for words. She had known all along. He had the wings. He only needed to remember how to use them. In the years that followed, Aaron became a legend of the skies. He glided through storms and raced the wind. He taught younger eagles how to fly, not by pushing them, but by reminding them that fear is natural, but staying stuck is a choice. He told them, comfort is a soft cage. It doesn't look dangerous, but it will quietly convince you that you're not meant for more. And he would add, with a glint in his eyes, it took a storm to make me fly. Don't wait for one. Leap before you're ready, because the sky only rewards those who dare to fall. And so the eagle who once forgot his wings had become the symbol of courage for all who thought they weren't enough. Moral: sometimes comfort is the biggest enemy of growth. We stay in the nest because it feels safe, familiar, and warm. But if you were born with wings, talent, strength, dreams, you were not meant to stay grounded. Fear will whisper, but your purpose will always roar louder if you're willing to listen. Don't wait for the storm to push you. Step into the sky and remember, you were made to fly.